அஸ்ஸலாமு அலைக்கும் வரஹ்மத்துல்லாஹி வபரகாத்துஹு. நமக்கள் எல்லாம் எப்படி இருக்கீங்க? இன்றைக்கி ரிவர் தேம்ஸ் போட்டிங் போகிறதுக்காக, சன்செட் போட்டிங் போகிறதுக்காக இருக்கோம். ரொம்ப ஒரு அற்புதமான கிளைமேட்டாக இருக்குது. சன்செட் பார்க்குறதுக்காக நம்ம ஏறினோம். ஆனால் சன்செட்டை பார்க்க முடியுமா இல்லையான்னு நம்மளுக்கு தெரியலை, ஒரு டவுட்டாக தான் இருக்குது. காரணம் என்னன்னு சொன்னால் பாருங்கள், மேகமூட்டத்தை ரொம்ப கருத்த மேகமூட்டமோடு இருந்துக்கிட்டு இருக்குது. லண்டன் ஐஸ் கீழால் நாங்கள் இருந்துக்கிட்டு இருக்குது. இப்போ போட்டு 5:45க்கு மூவாதுன்னு சொல்லியிருந்தாங்க. அது இப்போ ஆன் டயத்துக்கு எடுத்துருவாங்கன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். காரணம் என்னென்னு சொன்னாக்கா மழை வர்ற மாதிரி வேறு இருக்குது சூழ்நிலை. ஸோ நம்ம சேனல், நீங்கள் லெஜெண்ட் டிஸ்கவரி சேனல் இது வரைக்கும் நீங்கள் சப்ஸ்கிரைப் பண்ணலன்னாக்கா சப்ஸ்கிரைப் பண்ணிக்கணுங்க, ஷேர் பண்ணுங்கள், கமெண்ட் பண்ணுங்கள், பெல் பட்டன் அழுத்திக்கங்க. அப்போ தான் நம்ம போகிற ஒரு வீடியோ உங்களுக்கு கிடைக்கும். இந்த 2 ஹெலிகாப்டர் ஒன்றா போய்கிட்டு இருக்குது. இந்த கொஞ்சம் முன்னே போணுச்சு, இப்போயும் போகுது. என்னன்னு தெரியல, என்ன அவசரமோ இல்லாட்டி ஹெலிகாப்டர் வியூ வரட்டுமோ, அப்படி கூட இருக்க வாய்ப்புகள் இருக்குது.
For the comfort of all our guests, we ask you to refrain from smoking or vaping on this cruise. Please switch your phones to silent and keep noise volume to a minimum. This is a safety announcement. This boat is licensed to carry 249 passengers. We maintain constant contact with Thames Navigation and the River Police at all times. This boat is equipped with a full complement of life jackets and life rafts. The life jackets are stowed underneath the fixed seating in the lower saloon and in a locker on the upper deck, clearly marked with a green sign. All exits are clearly marked. From the lower saloon, there are doors at both sides of the vessel, or you can exit through the sliding windows. The upper deck is easily accessible by steps either side of the lobby. In the unlikely event of an emergency, the captain will give you full instructions. The captain is located at the back of the boat on the upper deck. In order to keep their view of the river clear, please remain seated throughout the journey.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome aboard your lastminute.com London Eye River Cruise. Safety announcement, so I am going to reiterate the most important points. Since we are all on the top deck, please stay in your seats. Now, if you all turn around, you can see our lovely captains today. We've got George, we've also got Steve. Give them a wave, they get very uncomfortable. Thank you very much.
Wow, how it will come? What do you mean, why? You cannot stand, I cannot sit. This will give me.
Now there are toilets downstairs, and we do have inside seating if you would prefer.
Give me.
There is also my colleagues. We've got Pauline, we've also got Jasmine, they are downstairs. So if you do need an audio guide or you have any questions or any queries, please ask them. Now to kick off our tour, over on your right, these are the Houses of Parliament. Now the Houses of Parliament do have a formal name. They are called the New Palace at Westminster, because they are located in Westminster. Now, because this was a palace, we did have some pretty famous kings and queens living in here. King Canute, our one and only Viking king, he lived in here. And then the very last monarch to live in this building was King Henry VIII. He's the one who handed it over to a medieval government, creating the very first Houses of Parliament. Nowadays though, this is the seat of our UK government. So in there you've got two distinct houses, the House of Lords and the House of Commons. Now the House of Lords, these are experts in their field, picked by our monarchy. So in this case, Charles III. And then the House of Commons, these are our elected MPs. Now these are the ones that we see on the news getting up to some mischief. As we went round, we did have some lovely awnings. One was red, one was green. There is a reason for this. The red represents the House of Lords, the green represents the House of Commons. Now this colour coding, it does continue on the bridges on either side of us. So over on your right, we've got Lambeth Bridge. Lambeth Bridge is lovely in red. This was the particular entrance for the House of Lords at one point. Equally, on your left, we've got Westminster Bridge. Westminster Bridge that we just went under. It is lovely and green. Now, Westminster Bridge was the particular entrance for the House of Commons at one point. Again, it really doesn't mean a lot today, but it does mean that our lovely bridges are colour-coded. This colour coding, it was initially introduced between the two houses to avoid corruption within our UK government. So that is clearly working out really well for us. Sitting on your left, we do have a rather iconic clock tower. Now, admittedly, we all call that clock tower Big Ben. Everyone in London will call that Big Ben. There are even signs that will say Big Ben this way. But Big Ben is actually the 13-ton bell inside that clock tower. The clock tower itself is called the Elizabeth Tower, after our late great Queen Elizabeth II
Only this one.
Diamond Jubilee.
Portrait.
Now wave to the people of Westminster Bridge. Over on our right, we've got County Hall. County Hall was originally the home for the mayors of London, but in the 1980s, Margaret Thatcher decided they had too much space, so she kicked them all out. It is now home to Merlin Entertainment. So within that building, you've got the Sea Life London Aquarium, Shrek's Adventure, the London Dungeons, and even the London Eye ticket office. We've also got the lastminute.com London Eye on our right. Now the London Eye, this is a cantilevered observation wheel. By that I do mean cantilevered is on just the one side. It's an observation wheel because the pods that we ride in
Not
are on
easy.
the outside of this wheel.
It's very big.
Now there is a very similar
The wheel is
version
very
in
big.
Dubai. It is much,
Cannot.
much bigger. But that is actually
Zoom,
a
zoom.
Ferris wheel because the pods that we ride in are on the inside of the wheel. So for the rest of this journey and indeed anywhere today at the London Eye, the F word is banned. It is a cantilevered observation wheel. In front of us we have the two Golden Jubilee walkway bridges, designed in 2002 specifically to match the London Eye. In the middle of that you've got the Hungerford Railway Bridge. Now that leads into Charing Cross, which is on our left. Charing Cross was supposedly modelled after a steam train coming out of an archway with lots of smoke below behind it. Now you can see that if you relax your eyes quite a bit, but most people agree it does just look like a toaster. Over on our left, older even than the City of London itself, that lovely stone obelisk or Cleopatra's Needle. Now, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, that is the only piece of Egyptology that you will find in London today that was not stolen. That was actually a gift for our intervention in the Battle of the Nile in 1819. Now, it took us a very long time to get it over here. It survived a mutiny, the loss of half of its crew, and a very substantial budget. But then, in true British fashion, when we got it onto our backside, we put the sphinxes in the wrong way round. They face the needle, they are meant to face outwards. Waterloo Bridge in front of us now, also called the Ladies' Bridge. Sitting on our left though, we have a green dome tops building hidden behind some lovely trees. Now this is Somerset House. Originally this was a palace for the Dukes of Somerset, but it got taken over by the birth, death and marriages officers, which earned it the nickname the Hatcham, the Matcham and the Dispatchams. Nowadays though, this is the Cortisol Art Institute. It is a free to enter art gallery. They are currently running an exhibition about American Sign Language. Just ahead of us, sticking on our left, we do have a lovely white warship with a lovely yellow funnel. Now this is called the HQS Wellington. The Wellington was a New Zealand warship that was active during the Second World War. Now she would disguise herself as a merchant ship, and then when German U-boats would rise to the surface, she would destroy them. Nowadays though, the Wellington is a headquarters for master mariners, permanently moored on that side of the river. Now 25 years as a ship's captain on our river, and you can get drunk on that boat. Scooting over to our right though, we have London's one and only white sandy beach. It's the Costa del London. Now believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, we have had a couple of days of sunshine here in London. We have been gathering along that beach. We've been building sandcastles, we've been paddling in the Thames, and we've been having a jolly good time. Just next to that, you've got the Oxo Tower. Now, logically, we can all see that that does say Oxo. Legally, though, it says nothing. Now, along the Thames, we do not allow advertising. It is a royal highway, and you are not allowed to advertise. But in the 1930s, Oxo did not exactly ask for permission. So when they were taken to court, they did hold their hands up. They said, look, we ordered a random selection of geometric shapes that just so happened to spell out our company name. Pure coincidence, we didn't mean to. And the judge went, well, anyone can make that mistake. You should definitely keep it. So they were allowed to keep it. And now they are the only company that can advertise on our Thames, despite the fact that Oxo is not based there anymore. It was instead taken over by the 5-star Harvey Nichols restaurant and supposedly affordable housing. The bridges in front of us now are the two Blackfriars bridges. This first one is the Red Road Bridge, the second one is the Railway Bridge. Cathedral. Now, St. Paul's Cathedral is the second largest freestanding domed cathedral in the entire world. It is beaten only by the Vatican. This is the fifth St. Paul's that has stood on this spot. The one before this one was destroyed in the Great Fire of London in 1666. The one that we can currently see, though, was finished all the way back in 1710 by a man named Sir Christopher Wren. Now, he was a big fan of Christianity, so he did build his cathedral 365 feet tall. That is 1 foot for every day that we can all be worshipping Christ. St. Paul's is open to the public today. They will charge you admission, but if you go on a Sunday and sit through the services, they merely ask for a silent donation. So we have William Shakespeare's replica Globe Theatre. This lovely white building with a thatched roof. Now, the original Shakespeare's Globe Theatre did burn down during the late 1600s. Back then, they would use real cannons for their sound effects, and it did not mix with the dry thatch roof. The building went up in flames. The one that we can currently see, though, was finished all the way back in 1997. Now, it is as close to the original as we could possibly get, so everything you can see is handcrafted. There's standing room only inside, and the roof is open air. It's also the one and only thatch roof you will find in London today. Do not panic though, there are sprinklers on the top just in case another fire does break out. Shows do run all summer, tickets are available online. They recently did a production of Macbeth. That bridge we just went under is called Southwark Road Bridge. But the one in front of us is called Cannon Street Railway Bridge. Now, there's not really a huge amount to say about this bridge, apart from the fact that it was bought for £5 million by the ever so reliable National Rail Network. Now, just a small heads up as we head under. If you feel anything dripping on your head, do not panic. The trains have you empty their toilet. Back on our right, though, we have a real, genuine replica of an actual pirate ship. Just next to the old Thames side is the Golden Hind. Now, the Golden Hind was a real boat that did set sail in the late 1610s by a man named Sir Francis Drake. Now, he took himself off to sea for 3 years and managed to, shall we say, collect £23 million worth of Spanish and Portuguese gold. And then, to avoid the consequences of his actions, continued to sail around the world in a straight line, making him the very first Englishman to circumnavigate the globe. Nowadays, though, the Golden Hind is an escape room. Tickets will cost you just under £10. You can use the puzzles and even meet the man himself. But now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment we have all been waiting for. The world famous London Bridge. Now, the world famous London Bridge is behind us. Yes, there are the dull grey bridge that we all just ignored. That one is London Bridge. The one in front of you with the towers is called Tower Bridge. Now do not panic if you get them mixed up, guys. Most people do. Even Google does. If you Google London Bridge, pictures of Tower Bridge do come up. Before we get to Tower Bridge, however, there is an 11,500 ton warship. She is over on our right. She is in Arctic camouflage, so you may have to look very carefully. Now this is called the HMS Belfast. The Belfast was created in the very same shipyard as the ill-fated Titanic in Belfast. She was active during the First and the Second World War. She had a hand in sinking Hitler's very favourite ship, the Scharnhorst, and she was one of the very first boats to make contact on D-Day. There are over 50 guns on this boat, and they were last fired in anger during the Korean War. After a very long and illustrious war career, she was sold to the Imperial War Museum for the record-breaking price of £1. Perhaps they should have bought two. You could even say they had a sale on. Nowadays, though, the Belfast is a floating museum. She is firmly moored on that side of the river, and she is open to the public. But now, ladies and gentlemen, the money shot that you are all after. It is Tower Bridge. Now, a gentle reminder, please do continue to stay seated on the top deck. Everybody wants a picture of this bridge. Nobody really wants a picture of the back of your head. So do stay in your seats. This will also mean that our lovely captains can continue to see where they're going, which for me is the most important point. Now, Tower Bridge is a vascular bridge, which means the two blue arms are about to go up. All of the metalwork you see on this bridge is the original metalwork. It was at one point painted brown. Queen Victoria, she was a big fan of chocolate, so she had her bridge painted brown. Now she's also the reason we have these lovely towers. These towers, they are purely cosmetic, they have no effect on the structural integrity of this bridge, and they were designed specifically to match the Tower of London, which, do not panic, I will point out. At one point in time, Tower Bridge would rise over 20 times a day, and pedestrians would grow tired of having to wait for the bridge to drop back down. So they would cross this bridge using the two walkways at the very top. Now you can still cross them today, but we will charge you for that privilege. It will cost you £12, and it is part of the Tower Bridge experience. A pro tip though, if you find yourself a local Southwark resident, take them with you. It will only cost you £2.
Take yourself. It will come. Very nice.
Stories about Tower Bridge. There was once a bus driver named Albert. Now Albert Johnson drove a double-decker bus, and on a cold grey day in 1952, he didn't realise this bridge had started to rise. Now Albert was faced with two choices. Number one, he could speed up, or number two, he could slow down. Albert did decide to speed up. He managed to jump himself and his full double-decker bus filled with passengers across the gap in this bridge and got everyone safely to the other side. Now that is 100% true. You can Google it if you don't believe me. But you can also learn more about Tower Bridge and the Tower Bridge experience, a museum dedicated to Tower Bridge. And should you want to see when the bridge rises, there is even a lovely website, towerbridge.com. Over on our right now, though, we have the Tower of London. Originally began by William the Conqueror in 1066. The main structure you can see are the four towers and the monarchs. Over 20 monarchs were executed at the Tower of London, the likes of which include Anne Boleyn, Catherine Howard, and even Charles I. Over the years, the tower has had multiple purposes. It's been a royal observatory. It was even briefly a zoo. It housed the very first polar bear to live in London. It was a gift from the King of Norway, and it would swim in the Thames. Nowadays, though, our tower is home to the crown jewels. So in here, we've got the orb, the scepter, and a rather impressive collection of tiaras. Now, the Tower of London is open to the public today. They will charge you admission, but once you're inside, you can get yourself a completely free tour on the Beef Eaters or the Overboarders. Now, these are the guardsmen that do live at the Tower of London. Their knowledge is absolutely unparalleled, and by pure coincidence, tip any tour guide here in London. Supposedly it gets you 5 years good luck, so do remember that for when you're getting off this boat. Now it is starting to rain just slightly, so if you would like to make your way to the bottom deck, you are more than welcome. I can promise you it is not raining down there. Over on our left now though, we have the Shard, or the Shard of Glass. Now the Shard is Western Europe's tallest building. If the Shard is any taller, you would get in the way of aeroplane flight plans. It's not a perfect building, the Shard. It does have a lot of floors. 72 floors to be exact. You've also got the 5-star Shangri-La Hotel, corporate offices, luxury apartments, the 5-star Shangri-La Hotel, and even London Bridge Station at the bottom. Now the architect of the Shard, Renzo Piano, he was offered £10 million for his design. He said no thank you, I shall take the penthouse suite, which he then sold for £48 million. A rather solid investment. Now, does anybody here have £2 million? Yeah? Perfect. You can live in the Shard. A word of warning though, your windows do not open to preserve the iconic look of the Shard. You do not get a garden and you are not allowed pets. But there is a rumour that William owns one of the top suites, so he could be your neighbour. Silver lining though. In front of us now though, this is the world famous London Bridge. Now this is what you have all come here to see. Isn't it spectacular? This particular version was finished back in the 1960s and it was actually used in some very famous movies. Bridget Jones walks over this bridge in Bridget Jones' Diary, and Nancy loses her life underneath this particular London Bridge during the musical Oliver. If you pay attention to the stonework, you will notice the London Bridge is actually labelled twice. Now the original London Bridge was put here over 2,000 years ago when the Romans first invaded. The second one we put up was a wooden one which got pulled down when the Vikings invaded. The third one fell down, the fourth one fell down, and then the fifth one, yes it did, it fell down. That is why we get the nursery rhyme, London Bridge is falling down, and that is why we sing it 3 times. Then the Victorians, they put up a lovely stone bridge, which started to fall down. So we sold that one to the Americans. Now that particular version does currently stand over Lake Havasu in Arizona. So you can walk over London Bridge in London, UK, and then in Phoenix, USA. The man who bought the previous London Bridge, Robert P. McCulloch, he made the classic mistake we've all made. He mixed up the 2 bridges. He thought he was buying Tower Bridge, he ended up with London Bridge. So when he shipped it brick by brick over to Lake Havasu, let's just say he was not best pleased. Over on our right, we have some lovely windows. This is a health and beauty spa. Now supposedly when these windows went in, they went in the wrong way round. So we can see in, but they cannot see out. Give them away, test that theory, they normally wave back. On our left now though, we have the Anchor Tavern. The Anchor Tavern is one of London's oldest pubs. There has been a pub or an alehouse on that site for over 400 years. It's even had some pretty famous people inside. Charles Dickens, Samuel Pepys the diarist, even William Shakespeare himself. Although towards the end of his career he did end up barred. Southwark Road Bridge in front of us is also called the Lonely Bridge. Now this is because this is our least used bridge. It has the least amount of traffic, the least amount of footfall. So if you do see anybody on top, give them a wave, they are most likely lost. And if they wave back, we should definitely call for help. Now this is the Millennium Footbridge. But us Londoners, we call this bridge the Wibbly Wobbly Bridge. It gets its name because in the early 2000s, when it was first opened, it was opened by our Queen, and then 2 days later, it was closed by our police. Now 160,000 Londoners walked over this bridge. They reported a very distinct sway. It started to wobble. The bridge did have to be closed. NASA got themselves involved. They put earthquake dampers on this bridge. It is now 100% safe to walk over, but it will forever be known, at least to us Londoners, as the Wibbly Wobbly Bridge. It probably doesn't help that the architect, Norman Foster, a northern man, he went on live national television to say, "There is nothing wrong with my bridge. It's the way you Londoners walk." Apparently we march, and that made the bridge sway. The Wibbly Wobbly Bridge does lead on your right into St Paul's Cathedral, but on your left it leads to the Tate Modern, this lovely building with a 325-foot tall chimney. Now, originally even, this was the old Bankside Power Station. But in the 1980s, when we discovered the harmful effects of pollution, we shut it down. It is now a free-to-enter modern art gallery. But if modern art is not your thing, there is a lovely cocktail bar at the top. And I can tell you from experience, after a couple of cocktails, the artwork does suddenly seem to make sense. Just ahead of us on our left, we have our newest skyscraper, number 1 Blackfriars, this lovely curvy one. Now this building has earned itself a variety of rather silly nicknames. We call it the Baby Bump, the Penguin, the Cocktail Shaker, the Boomerang, the Hog, but everyone's favourite does seem to be the Kim Kardashian. I'll let you decide exactly why we've called it that. Now, supposedly when this building went up, it was meant to be 80% affordable housing. I recently had a look for a one-bedroom apartment. You are looking at just under £2.3 million. Welcome to affordable housing in London. In front of us now, this is Blackfriars Railway Bridge, the only station here in London to span the entire length of our Thames. This whole bridge is the whole Blackfriars station. There's an entrance on either side of the Thames, and the entire thing is covered in solar panels, which is very, very useful for when you do live in dreary old London. Now you may recognise this bridge from one of the later Mission Impossible films. Tom Cruise runs across this bridge. He ends up on the wrong side of the river, but he does run across this bridge. Hello, bottom deck. Over on our right now, we have the Bazalgette Embankment. Now, the Bazalgette Embankment is currently under construction. Does anybody know what's happening here? A new train station, perhaps? The London Eye 2.0? We would all be wrong. It is the upgrade we are currently performing on our sewer system. Yes, it's fascinating stuff. Our Victorian sewage system can withstand the sewage of upwards of 3 million people. Our current population does stand anywhere between 8 to 9 million people. So we're upgrading it. And in true London fashion, we've given it a rather silly nickname. Now we call it the Super Pooper. Now supposedly when the Super Pooper is finished in 2024, it will be wide enough to fit 2 full double-decker buses inside, side by side. I don't know if any of you here know about London construction though. It's meant to be finished in 2024. If you add about 10 years onto that finish date, you are still looking at an unfinished project. Sticking along the right hand side of our embankment, we have some lovely green lion heads. Now these lion heads, they were an old Victorian mooring system. You used to be able to just tie your boat up any way you wanted along our riverbank. They were also used as an early flood detection warning system, and we came up with a rather silly rhyme for that one too. So when the lionheads are drinking, then London is sinking. If the water is up to their mains, we're all going down the drains. But if the lionheads are ducks, London is well and truly flooded. Now, if anybody didn't understand that joke, you do have my full permission to take it home with you, tell it to your mum or your dad, get them to say the word I could not possibly say. Now, hopefully we have all figured out that we are sailing on the Thames today. Yeah? Perfect. Does anybody here think the Thames is a clean river? No. Admittedly, nobody ever does think the Thames is a clean river. It is actually, though, one of the cleanest metropolitan rivers in the entire world. So with any river in any city, I'll say that again, a city river, our Thames is one of the cleanest. Now, there is a reason for the gorgeous colour you can see the water. The Thames is tidal. It does ebb and flow between 5 to 7 metres a day. Now, this creates a very, very fast current of upwards of 6 knots. If you add this to our riverbank, which is pure mud, you get constantly churning water, constantly churning mud, and constantly churning Thames. Now, this creates the lovely colour you can see in the water. You can test this theory as well if you get yourself a glass of Thames water, take it home with you as a small souvenir, leave it on a flat surface, you will notice it will settle. You will end up with some lovely clear water and some even lovelier Thames tidal mud. The Thames is also home to over 130 different species. We get all sorts of fish, plant life, we get birds, we get ducks, swans, we've had seals, jellyfish, starfish. We get dolphins, porpoises, whales, even 2 types of sharks. The spur dog, which is venomous, and the taupe shark, which gets to 6 metres long. So if you were thinking of maybe going for a swim in the Thames, I would recommend not. Waterloo Bridge in front of us now, also called the Ladies' Bridge. Now this is because when this bridge... I'll start again. This bridge is called the Ladies' Bridge because during the Second World War, when all of our lovely, strong, strapping lads were away in Europe, our scouts got together and decided to build a bridge. Now Waterloo Bridge happens to be the only bridge in London today, built on time and under budget. Are we surprised? Now over on our left we have the Queen Elizabeth Hall and the Purcell Room. These make up some lovely gallery spaces in that lovely building. The whole building is called the South Bank Centre, and on the underside of the South Bank Centre there is some lovely graffiti. Now that graffiti is called the Undercroft, which is the UK's very first skate park. So if you're looking for a place to do some flips or some tricks, or even just watch someone fall over, that is the spot for you. Just next to that you've got the Royal Festival Hall. Now after the Second World War, us Londoners, we were fairly depressed. We had just been through a world war. So we did a pick-me-up. We came up with the Royal Festival of Great Britain in 1951. Now the only thing that's left is the Royal Festival Hall. It is a world-famous concert hall, and it is currently home to the London Philharmonic Orchestra. Underneath them, keep in mind this is the only spot in London today where you are above and below a train line. So above us we have the overground, and underneath us we will have the underground. So as we go through, we will be in a train sandwich, or a subway if you will. This is also going to be your last chance to wave at a Londoner. I can promise you if you try this anywhere else you're going to get 1 or 2 fingers in response, so do make the most. Closed. Your nearest free toilet is going to be in the Royal Festival Hall, or you can pay £1 to use the ones on the South day. Over on our right, though, we have a lovely boat, the Tattershall Castle. Now, originally, the Tattershall Castle was placed there as an art gallery. However, art galleries do not tend to make a huge amount of money, so it was changed. It's now the pub on the Thames, and as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, it does get lovely and busy.